Hey everyone, this is the Petrolholics podcast. I'm Tom,
And I'm Carmen.
and welcome to our first official Petrolholics podcast.
You're witnessing history right here with this debut Petrolholics podcast. You can also witness other things at our website, petrolholics.com, or follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Petrolholics.
So we've got a bunch of interesting topics to cover tonight, but let's start off with the Chicago Auto Show. So I was lucky enough to get a press pass to the Chicago Auto Show, and I've never been to an automotive press event, but it was a great experience. I was impressed. But I want to talk about the Ford GT. So they brought the Ford GT to the Chicago Auto Show in a different color than it was at the Detroit Auto Show. It was in Detroit it was more of a light blue, but in Chicago it was silver with a black stripe. And I think I actually prefer the lighter blue, so I was a little disappointed. But Carmen, you were saying that you actually prefer the silver over the blue.
Yeah, for some reason, I feel like the silver just looks nicer on this new version of the GT. Like we were talking, though, with the original GT, my favorite color was the dark blue with the white stripe.
Yeah,
But
with
for
white
some
stripes.
reason,
Yeah.
with the photographs that I've seen that you've taken, for some reason the silver just seems to be the right car for that, or the right color for that car at the moment.
I think if it was maybe a darker blue, that would be perfection. If you want to see any photos of the Ford GT from the Chicago Auto Show, or any photos from the Chicago Auto Show, head to our website and they will be up. But moving on, I also saw the AMG GT in the flesh for the first time, and
That car's really been growing on me lately with all of the recent reviews and photographs that I've seen, and press releases.
yeah, it's got
I'm
an
really
awesome
starting to like it
exhaust
a lot.
note. I saw a video on YouTube. I think it was like in Dubai, but the
Of
combination
course.
that V8 and the twin turbos just it sounds incredible. But no, that car is brilliant. I'm a big fan. Uh, I I'm excited to see it in another color besides silver. And I also saw the 4C Spider in yellow. Uh, and
Yeah, what do you think of that compared to the original 4C?
uh, I mean, from the front, there's really no difference. At least I could tell. But the back, the exhaust placement's a little bit different on the Spider. On the Spider, it's kind of the exhaust placement's similar to like an old school Lamborghini, like a Diablo or even our early Murcielago. It's like the dual pipes that just kind of stick out that are right next to each other.
Yeah,
So I
right in
think I
the
actually
middle.
prefer the 4C Spider over the 4C. And I was talking to an Alpha rep, and he was saying that the the launch model, the 4C Spider, is going to come with just a cloth roof, and then you can buy a carbon fiber hardtop later on. So
Really? Okay.
yeah, so that car, definitely look out for that. Big things to come from there.
Wow.
And then also, I sat in an i8, the BMW i8, and you know what? That car is impossible to get into, at least comfortably. You almost have to take like a running head start and like have your legs like already positioned up to get in. I've sat in some cars that are difficult to get into, like the 12C or the 650S, with a carbon fiber. With any car with a carbon fiber tub, it just makes entering and exiting a little bit more tough. But the i8 was hard to get into. And then I also saw the GT350.
Yeah, what's your opinion on that?
I'm a big fan. I love it. I don't know if I think it's because more the flat plane V8. I didn't get to hear it or drive it, but I saw it, and the car looks a lot more aggressive compared to just a normal Mustang. So I'm digging it.
Yeah, what would you
Um,
say with that compared with the GT500?
the GT500. I think I prefer the GT350. I don't know if it's because I know that it has like a flat plane V8 under its bonnet, but I think if I had the funds, I would totally buy a GT350.
Yeah,
Uh,
for some reason they made that look a lot more aggressive too. I noticed. When the GT500, it's just doesn't
it was a
seem
little
nearly
too
as
plain. It just
aggressive.
had the snake badge, and that was about it.
Yeah.
But I want to see the GT350R. Does that looks stunning.
Yeah, that's going to be a sight to see.
And then also another cool car I saw at the auto show was the NSX. I was a little disappointed with that, and here's why. The interior was not finished in the model they had on display. It was, you could see half the the top half. So right where this the middle of the steering wheel was at, it was just foam. So you couldn't see the seats or the interior, or I don't know. I was just disappointed with that because
But
in
correct
Detroit,
me if I'm wrong. The one in
yeah,
Detroit actually had everything visible,
yeah,
right?
and also the one in at the Canadian International Auto Show also had a an actual interior. It wasn't just foam. So I was disappointed with that. And then also the exhaust pipes were a little weird. There's 4 of them. There's 2 big ones and 2 smaller ones, and it looked like they were just cheap plastic. But maybe it's just a display model. Obviously it is, but I was disappointed.
But still, we've been waiting for years for this, and I think it was a little more. People were a little more hopeful, but
yeah, they've been definitely Acura's been kind of dragging on this project for the last couple of years. Ever since we saw the Super Bowl commercial with Jerry Seinfeld and Jay Leno. I've had my hopes high, and especially since they were okay, we're going after the 458, the 458. That's what we're gonna kind of compete with, and they've taken their time so much that the 458's gone. It's
Ferrari's moved on. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens with that. And they also had a graphite FT1 at the Chicago Auto Show, which was pretty
Toyota's
cool.
been parading that around for a while. Not in graphite, at least in the original red, but I think it's pretty interesting.
You said they also made a model in blue?
I've seen pictures online. I'm not sure if that's an official, an actual photo of a blue FT1. But from what I saw, the blue really fit the car really well.
Yeah,
but we were
graphite didn't really do its justice.
We were saying earlier that with Toyota showing this car off and having it in different colors, we're hopeful that maybe even if it's not this exact model, that Toyota will produce something similar as an actual production car.
Yeah, but sometimes you see concepts and then you see the production model and they're miles different from each other.
Yeah,
so.
Or they just don't even produce it. Like last year, the Cadillac El Mirage, when we went, you just hear nothing about it. But the FT1's been around now for over a year.
The second year,
we're a little more hopeful with this.
First year, sorry. But no, yeah, but I don't know. Are they saying that it's a successor to, it's going to be the super successor, or is it just going to be just a new Toyota sports car? Because I've seen that it's taken inspiration from the 2000 GT, MR2, Celica, Supra, and even the FRS. So I don't know where they're going with that.
It doesn't really sound like a Supra successor if it has all those other inspirations, but I'm not sure. They haven't really been too clear with that.
What do you think of the name FT1?
I'm not sure what the meaning is. Is there a specific? Do you know anything about the name?
Meaning behind it? I'm not sure, but I feel at least sign with the FRS, it's always 3 characters. So I hope that isn't the production model name. Hopefully it's a little different.
Yeah, hopefully it's the new Camry.
The Super sounds awesome,
Yeah.
But moving on, and then also the GT-R LM Nismo, that was in the Super Bowl commercial. It made its debut appearance.
It was a big deal.
In the flesh. Yeah. And that car is pretty awesome. It's got 1,250 horsepower, and it's front-wheel drive. So the front tires on this thing are massive. They're so wide, especially compared to the rear ones. The rear ones almost look like Prius tires. And then I also had the opportunity to sit in the new Miata. So the Miata they had there, it was white, and it was right-hand drive. So I don't know if it was a European spec or something, but or even a Japanese spec. But I was not comfortable in the car whatsoever. I'm 6'2", so there's some sports cars that I don't fit into or I'm just not comfortable in, and that was definitely one of them. My knees were hitting like the indicator stalk and the you know, the windshield wipers. So I hope it was just that model because I was really looking forward to that car, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, hopefully the American version is a little larger.
I'm sure it will be, but I know the Miata's not a big car, but like I at least want to be able to just drive it even if I'm not comfortable. But and then there are also a bunch of cool classics at the show. So Alpha, they brought a 33 Stradale there, and that car is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's
and
one
that's
of my
the first one
favorite
I've ever
looking
seen.
cars of all time.
Yeah, especially with its value at what it's probably valued around 10 million or even more.
Yeah.
And then Toyota also had a 2000 GT on display, and so that was pretty cool. Because just like the 33 Stradale, I've never seen one.
Yeah, and the 2000 GT is a pretty. I feel like it was a monumental, even if it wasn't realized at the time, a monumental move for Japanese cars. Like it kind of mirrored, the British sports cars at the time. Kind of looks somewhat like an E-Type, but with its own little twist to it.
Yeah, I almost feel like it's got like elements from like a E-Type and then a kind of like a Ferrari.
Yeah, it has.
But
This
no, like you were
European
saying,
styling.
yeah, it definitely went under the radar. It hasn't really gained respect until the last maybe 10 years.
Yeah, and I'm wondering personally if it paved the road for, Japanese sports cars of modern day, because when you look at, the classic sports cars, like the small sports car, not too many have like actually been successful, but when you look at like the small sports cars now, a lot of them that have success, at least on the lower end of the price spectrum, it's a lot of Japanese cars.
Oh, it's Japanese, yeah.
Yeah.
They almost kind of beat England at its own game. And then another car I saw at the Chicago Auto Show was there was a Lamborghini wasn't there, but there's a local dealer that they brought a brown Huracan, and I don't know, it was interesting. It was like James May spec, yeah. I don't think I would buy an Huracan or even a sports car in brown.
Yeah, we just don't like the
I don't know.
Huracan in general. So.
Yeah, I just don't like the front nose. It looks like it's been in an accident, then it's been repaired, and it just doesn't look right. But moving on, next month is the Geneva Auto Show, so we're pretty excited for that. Even know where to begin with that.
But we're excited to see what's coming out of it.
Yeah.
Sure.
So today you told me about Pagani. Apparently they've sold every single Pagani Huayra coupe. And you said there was a massive emphasis on...
They used that language.
Coupe.
Yeah, it's
so
very
what exactly
interesting.
does it mean?
Because all Huayras are coupes. So people online, specifically I saw in Jalopnik that maybe Pagani was hinting at something, that they'll be releasing in the near future by saying all the Huayra coupes. Maybe they're going to release a Roadster in the near future, which
so does that mean no Huayra wagon?
I mean, there could be. There's still hope.
We don't know what Horatio Pagani has up his sleeve.
Yeah.
But no, I'd love to see a Huayra Roadster.
Yeah, there is one problem.
What do you think they do with the doors?
Earlier. Yeah, the doors.
Yeah.
Floating gull wing doors.
I'm sure Horatio Pagani could pull it off.
Yeah, he'd figure out a way.
So yeah, we're excited for the Huayra Roadster, but then again, that's all speculation. We don't know if there's actually going to be anything new from Pagani.
We do know
Geneva.
that there's going to be something new from Koenigsegg, and it's what they call a megacar, which I guess is just their created word to sound like it's better than a hypercar, such as the LaFerrari and the P1.
So is this basically Koenigsegg's way to say we don't want to be in the same class as We don't be compare. We're tired of being compared to the La Ferrari 918.
Yeah, it's just they're claiming to be in a new league, just a better car overall, to the point where it's a different like series of car, you know.
Mhm.
So I'm interested to see what it's going to be like, even though the teaser that they released doesn't make it look too different than Koenigsegg's of days past, but you know, we'll see what they have to offer next month.
Yeah, well, I mean, Koenigsegg with their styling, it's been pretty consistent for the last 10 years. So I think
Yeah.
the powertrain's going to be probably the most spectacular element of that car.
Koenigsegg's produced a lot of interesting technology in the last few years, especially with their 1-to-1 ratio car that they've been talking about recently, and now with this new megacar. I know they were trying to develop a new engine, things like that. So Koenigsegg's been producing a lot of interesting technology, and I'm excited to see where they're going to go with it from here. And we'll get a little glimpse of that next month at Geneva.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Koenigsegg 1 might be a megacar.
Yeah, I think
Think that-
they listed that as a megacar as well.
So they're releasing two megacars within the span of a couple months of each other. So
Yes.
so that that should mean that the what is it, the Regera, right?
Yeah.
Should be pretty groundbreaking. So yeah, we're excited to see what they have in store for us. But moving
speaking
on,
Speaking of like different tier cars, McLaren's been kind of doing that lately. We've heard a lot about their sports series, which will not be at Geneva next month, but they will have a few cars that will be, that we're interested to see. One of them's a variation of the 650S, which they call the 675 LT. It has a little more a little more power. I think it's 666 horsepower. And it's a tribute to the old F1 Longtail. So I'm interested to see what they take with that.
yeah, and then also the 650 LM, which is a tribute to
Yeah, they're doing a lot of tributes with the
1995,
650S.
yeah.
So
And yeah, I think the sports series, they said we'll see that they said the second quarter of
2015.
is it 2015, so probably around April to May.
I'm still excited to see that too, because we're not really sure.
Yeah, I think I'm the
exactly-
most excited car to see. That's the most excited car I want to see from that.
Yeah, the car.
That's the car that I'm most
excited
excited to see
Yeah.
from McLaren.
Yeah, because we were trying to figure out the price range, and McLaren themselves claim that the 12C and 650S are considered what they consider super series cars. So now they're coming up with this sports series, which would imply that the price would be significantly lower. Performance will probably be a little bit low, not as great in this car, but I'm still.
I know I keep hearing it's going to be a 911 rival, but does that mean like Turbo S range? But I kind of hope it's on the lower end of the spectrum, so it's not too pricey. Because if it's $200,000, you probably can pick up a used 650S for maybe 40 grand or even less than that.
Yeah.
But I want to see it compete with like maybe the F-Type R and even the Nissan GT-R. And maybe the lower end spectrum of the 911.
Yeah, I think that would be a great field for McLaren to tap into. That would be.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they could, sell some units in there, because you
gain
mentioned
some serious
before-
market share.
Yeah, like you mentioned before, it's even if the car is comparable, perfectly comparable in performance and looks. Most likely people are going to go towards the McLaren, because it's a lot better to say, I'm going to drive my McLaren than I'm going to take a ride in my Porsche.
Yeah, so you don't know. You could have a Porsche like SUV or something.
Yeah. And also
The
another
McLaren
thing
just
too
sounds
that's
awesome.
interesting with the McLaren's, the sports series, I thought it was interesting that they had listed multiple cars under the Super Series. So I'm wondering if the sports series will eventually, they'll start producing a few models, even if it's two. I think that would be pretty interesting. Maybe they'll span the entire price range from everything from, like you said, GTR competitor up to just below the 650S, and I think that would be a great move by them as long as they don't overdo it, because they still need to focus on Formula One.
That appeared around I think it was last year. I think it was on Jalopnik, but it was saying that there's gonna be a McLaren like kind of like Miata range or FRS range, and I was so excited for that, but it proved out it's not true. So if there's even something like in the $50,000 range, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I don't think it would dilute the McLaren name too much, because realistically, if you think about it, from a production car standpoint, they haven't really been around for too long, in the sense that they only have a few models in their history. Obviously, they started with the best, the F1, this groundbreaking car, and then the next step was the 12C. So kind of a big jump there. So why not keep going? Why not go all the way down and then span the entire spectrum and dominate the entire market?
Yeah, I feel like maybe Lamborghini wouldn't make, or even Ferrari make a model that's like, sub $50,000. But I don't. McLaren's not like a snooty brand where you're like, you don't kind of go around saying, I drive a McLaren, or it's kind of more like, latest and greatest technology, and it's incredible to drive.
Yeah. I feel like
it's not really
the
just
P1,
like a brand.
The P1 might be a little different, just because of the hypercar name, but when it comes to the 12C and 650S, I feel like a lot of people who own that are going to be people who either are enthusiasts or actually are, interested in, automotive technology and things, even if they don't know much about it. But I feel like if you're going to pick that car, there's a reason for it. So I think it's pretty.
Yeah, you're definitely you take a more serious approach to performance.
Yeah, you're not just somebody who cares about, the name, or
you're not the dentist going out to buy a Ferrari California just because it says Ferrari.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, but also, Ferrari. The 488
wait, we didn't talk about
GTB.
P1 GTR. Wait a minute.
Oh yeah, we did talk about the P1 GTR.
That is the biggest thing. All right.
McLaren also released some a press release of a bunch of awesome pictures of the P1 GTR that was finished in yellow, and it kind of had like a green stripe. So that was a real treat to see.
Yeah,
I don't know. Did you see that one last picture with the flame shooting out?
It's beautiful. And then there's also a pretty cool driver program coming with the P1 GTR, and Tom actually covered that in an article earlier in, I think, late last year. So you can look at that if you'd like. It's pretty interesting, and that will be debuting in Geneva next month.
Yeah, so the McLaren's driver program, it's a lot different from Ferrari's FXX program. You actually have to take the car home, so that's a perk already.
Yeah, that's a pretty big perk, I'd say.
So the car's been around for a while, and it definitely needs a refresh. So it will appear at the Geneva Auto Show. I know Top Gear got an exclusive look at the new model, and they posted a picture of it. Most of it was covered, but you just saw its headlights. It looked pretty stellar.
Yeah, it's an interesting new headlight. I don't know, it's a lot different than the old R8, but I'm not sure the rest of the car will be that way.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably going to be pretty similar to the other older variants. Yeah. But I'm interested in the powertrain, and I think they're actually eliminating the V8 option. It's just, they're all going to be V10s. I'm not sure if that's true or not.
Yeah, that's what's been rumored, and I think that's a pretty interesting move. Because I saw somewhere that if it is true, one of the engine variants will have more power than the Huracan. So for it to
That's
be
incredible to think that,
the R8
an
price
Audi
range.
sports car has more power than a Lamborghini sports car.
Yeah, wonder somebody likes their name better than their the brand that they own. They want to make themselves look better, possibly. But we'll see what the price of that will be, because I mean, R8s are not incredibly expensive when it comes to
But they've definitely gone up
cars they compete with. Yeah,
in the recent years.
definitely. And I'm wondering if there's going to be a variant that's more powerful than the Lamborghini, if that price is going to be a little heftier.
You'd expect it to be maybe around like 250, kind of the same level as the Huracan. Speaking of Lamborghini, there's been some spy shots of the Aventador SV that have been floating around the internet. And Carmen, have you seen them?
Yeah, I've seen the photos, but I'm not sure if they're going to come out or if that's going to debut at Geneva. I don't think it will.
You don't think it will? But I feel like Lamborghini doesn't have anything to bring to Geneva, so that might be it.
That's true. I mean, I don't know if they're going to keep showing off the Asterion and the Huracan, but I think that the Aventador SV would be a pretty good showstopper if they do bring it.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the Aventador SV. The SV variants are always been my favorite.
And there's also Aston Martin will be bringing the Vantage GT3.
Oh yeah, Vantage GT3. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know some press release, or Aston Martin released a press release today, and the car looks absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it's stunning.
Yeah.
We noticed that the performance-wise, like the top speed wasn't incredible. I mean, it was still it said upwards of 185 miles per hour, which it's really fast. But we were talking earlier about how Aston Martin has more than just they don't just try to go for the top speed. They have this elegance and class that you don't see with a lot of other cars in that range. So
yeah, they don't put all their eggs in one basket. It's not like a Veyron where like, okay, we're gonna make the car, no matter how ugly it looks, we're just gonna make sure it can do 268 miles an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Aston Martin's kind of like a jack of all trades.
Yeah, and my opinion might be hated by people on the internet, but I might rather pull up somewhere in an Aston Martin than a Bugatti, just because.
Yeah.
I feel like the Bugatti's just become this like over-purchased, just a toy for people.
It's almost
with
become
too
like a
much money.
status symbol,
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you want to be recognized as a famous actor? Go buy a Veyron. You need
Yeah,
one.
exactly. But Aston Martin, I don't know. There's just an elegance to it that is definitely not present with the Veyron, and it's not present in a lot of cars that are out there today. So I think the GT3 would be an interesting sight, and it kind of combines this elegance and some raw power and some performance. So it'll be an interesting move.
And so is the new Vantage GT3? I'm pretty sure that's gonna be. It's gonna use an AMG engine.
Okay.
So that'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, and then if there's a new Pagani Roadster, that won't be the only AMG powered car there, I guess.
Exactly.
And then big Mercedes rival, not really a rival, but competitor Ferrari in the terms of Formula One. They are bringing the 488 GTB to Geneva as well. I think they did a release today, right? This morning?
Yeah, they did. I believe it was in Maranello I think mostly for customers, and I think there were a couple of dealers invited.
And
Sebastian
Vettel
Vettel, yeah, he drove it into the room they were in, which was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, and they had two different colors, I think, instead of just the traditional red that they released images in first. I think they had silver as well. But what are your opinions on the 488?
I'm a big fan. I love it. I mean, I was hoping for it to be a little bit more of a drastic it's almost kind of like a refresh in my mind, because it still has the same 458 shape.
Yeah,
but
because if it's not broken, don't fix it mentality.
Yeah, exactly. And the 458 was probably one of the greatest sports cars in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I think it's still considered to be one of the top supercars of today. And now they've taken it, and supposedly the performance is even significantly better than the 458 Speciale, which is amazing because if you think about it, they're going to take the 488 and they're going to make those special editions of the 488, and I can't wait to see those numbers. It's going to be incredible, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. I know it was 3 seconds faster. The 488 was 3 seconds faster than the 458 Speciale around the Maranello track, and that's huge.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
I know they do have the same 0 to 60 times, but 3 seconds, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I think we've about run out of time, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the first official Petrolholics podcast.